This was a study conducted in 2 countries with the collaboration of 3 institutions. The Ground Research Group from the University of Salamanca, the Universidad Nacional de Rosario y la Universidad Nacional de San Agustín de Arequipa. It is important to mention the gender equality and empowerment of women are global challenges confronting international organizations such as UNESCO or United Nations. In particular, if we take into account the Sustainability Development Goals, the United Nations include the gender equality in some of the SDGs, or most of them. But in particular, there is also a SDG focus on providing women and girls equal access to education, healthcare, decent work, and representation in political and economic decision-making processes. Although the goals should be achieved worldwide, we have to take into account that the situation changes from country to country, and there are very a lot of difference among the different sectors of the society. If we focus on the engineering sector, according to the topic of the conference, the participation of women remains low, and there is a lack of inclusive environments where engineering tends to marginalize women and people of color. Of course, there are a lot of differences also between continents, and if we focus in particular in Latin America, there is a lack of data that allow the generation of comparable statistics and indicators to show the actual situation of women. If we review the UNESCO report, we can show that women make up over 30% of the graduate population in Argentina, Colombia, Costa Rica, Honduras, Panama, and Uruguay. So in this context, most of the initiatives focused to reduce the gender gap are related to increase the number of girls that choose STEM studies or empowering women during their professional career. But there are not so many studies focused on the women that are already studying engineering and STEM career. So in this context, the main objective of this work is to describe a case study conducted in Peru and Argentina to analyze the perception of the computer engineering students using an assisted instrument that was previously validated. In particular, the study was conducted in the National University of Rosario, a public university in Argentina, based in the city of Rosario, and the study was conducted in the computer science degree. Regarding the Peruvian institution, the National University of San Agustín of Arequipa was the context in which the study was applied. In particular, in 2 degrees, the system engineering and the computer science. The instrument used was the GENSE questionnaire, the Gender Perspective in Computer Engineer questionnaire, which aims to identify the perception of computer engineering students about issues related to gender and diversity. It is composed by 20 items organized in 3 dimensions, and we use the second version of the instrument that is already validated in Spanish and Chinese context. Also, it's important to highlight that the gender question was composed by 4 options: female, male, not mentioned before, and no answer. Regarding the data collection, the instrument was applied at the end of 2019, and it was implemented using an online system with a different copy of the access form for each institution. And also it's important to highlight that the questionnaire was fully anonymous. The questionnaire was answered by 75 students, 34 from Argentina and 41 from Peru. The distribution by gender is there is a gap because there are 20% of women in Argentina and near to 40% of women answers in Peru. And both universities cover students in all stages of the degree. Regarding the analysis of the results in the discussion related to the dimension about social perception, the items saw a significant differences between Argentine women and the other groups. It's important to highlight the differences related to the statement that the gender gap is a fact, in which Argentine men and the Peruvian students agree with the gender gap is a fact. Peruvian women don't identify the need to work on gender equality. Also, we want to highlight that Argentine men consider that the gender gap is not a problem that must be addressed as part of the computer engineering studies, while Argentine women are totally agree with this statement. Also, the greater degree of agreement among the women than men that people working in the technology sector should help reduce the gender gap in the contest. Regarding the dimension about professional competency, the perception of Argentine men is very similar to that of Peruvian women. Regarding the statement that women have more problems than men in programming, Peruvian women almost totally agree with this statement. And Argentine men consider that gender does not influence the time to finish the studies. On the other hand, the women believe that it does. It will be necessary to go deeper into this information in order to know which factor may influence this perception from Argentine women. Finally, in the dimension of academic perception, there are significant differences between women and men in Argentina. On the other hand, the academic perception in Peru is similar for men and women. In Argentina, women and men disagree in most of the items except the equality in the support received from the institution and the remuneration in similar positions. They don't agree or disagree if those situations are regardless gender. Regarding Peruvian men, also believes that there are no differences between women and men in the academic context. So, although there are more significant results in the paper, we have to discuss the conclusions. First of all, it's important to introduce the Global Gender Gap Report, in which Argentina remains as one of the most gender equal countries among the Latin American and the Caribbean region's large economies. On the other hand, Peru retains one of the wider educational attainment gender gaps in the region, and also the gender gap index of Argentina is better than Peru. In particular, Argentina is in the 30th position, meanwhile Peru is in the 66th position in the last report. The results show also that there is not too much difference between Peruvian and Argentine men, whereas there are significant differences between women. Finally, there are a number of important limitations that we need to take into account. The size of the sample and the low number of non-binary answers. So thank you very much.